So, hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Eagles Talk versus the Colts. Now, I've been thinking about doing this for a while with other teams. Like, I had a couple guys from the Giants on, so I'm going to go around and get other teams. So, without further ado, my guest, Derek, how do you pronounce it again?
Larger.
Yep. On the podcast, Bring the Juice. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Hey, everybody. I'm Derek Larger, co-host of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast on YouTube. Thank you for having me on, Mitch. Really appreciate it. And ready to talk some football, man. Training camp is just a few days away.
It's just so quick. Like this year, it's just like I wanted to happen already. I just wanted to happen. It's the most anticipated thing. It's just like, please, just get faster. So, let's just start with introduce yourself even more. Like how, you're from Indiana, you become a Colts fan in that whole scenario, and who's your favorite Colts player of all time?
Oh man, well, I wasn't born in Indiana. I was born and raised in a little small town called Sydney, Ohio, about 2.5 hours east of Indianapolis. But I became a Colts fan. I mean, kind of just the same way a couple other people my age did that didn't grow up in Indiana. We watched a couple of Colts games when they were on. We most of the time we get a Bengals or a Browns game, and then we saw Peyton Manning. My dad loved Peyton Manning, and we watched Colts games from the very beginning. And I think that's why Peyton Manning's become one of my favorite Colts players, because of just the simple fact that, I grew up watching him before I really became a diehard Colts fan. And, favorite Colts players right now, oh man, two players really come to mind when I'm talking about, favorite players right now on this roster. And Darius Leonard's one of them. I love Darius Leonard, and he's the epitome of why Cody and of the name Bring the Juice. That's kind of what Cody and I made our name after, because he brings the juice. All right. He really does have an attitude on the field that a lot of guys just can't mimic. And another guy that I really love on this team, and how can you not? It's Big Q, Quentin Nelson. I mean, best offensive lineman in football, in my opinion, just dominates anyone he comes across. And he has really revitalized this team. So that's some of the favorite players that I have.
Yeah. Now, for me, I grew up watching the Colts specifically because of Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne especially. I love that wide receiver combo. And to me, that's one of the best wide receiver duos of all time.
Yes.
That's just me. I mean, those guys were just lethal. Reggie Wayne, his speed and everything. I just loved his game.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Marvin Harrison. I mean, Marvin Harrison still doesn't get a whole lot of love from, national media in general for as good as his stats were. I mean, some of the records that Peyton and him set are still unbelievable. That, he has the most touchdowns between him and Peyton of over 40 yards. There's just nobody that does it better than them. And, Reggie Wayne was the hands of the team. You needed a clutch catch to get you a first down. Reggie Wayne was that guy. That team back then, that was the original offensive team. That was, in a lot of ways, that was the Kansas City Chiefs of back then, of that previous decade, was the Indianapolis Colts in the middle part of that decade. So, it was really fun to watch. Even though I was still so young, I barely remember any of it.
Yeah. So, I know the big reason why I want you on here, I think you especially know why. It's got to be number 2, and that is Carson Wentz. How do you think he's going to perform this year under Frank Wright in that whole system?
How I felt about this, I think Cody and I's reactions to Carson Wentz getting signed here, I think was the same, in the sense that we were just happy that this news was finally over. We've spent so much time over the offseason asking who's going to be the quarterback of this team. Every single video we were posting had something to do with a quarterback of some kind. And it was nice to finally see him come in and, I think that Carson Wentz in the system that he's going to come into now does put him in a little bit better of a chance for success and long term than what he really had in Philadelphia. I mean, for a number of reasons. The first off, I'll kind of just talk about the local indie media is not as harsh towards, its players as, some of the Philly media out there. I mean, I remember some of the articles that were written about Carson. They were ripping on him a lot and, not being a great locker room guy and all this stuff. But, just the personnel that's around him, versus what he had in 2018 and 2019 and 2020. You look at the offensive line. The Indianapolis Colts have a top 3 offensive line in the NFL. And, I mean, they allow very few sacks every year. Even our quarterback last year, Phillip Rivers, who is probably the most immobile quarterback that you've ever seen in your lifetime, was sacked the second fewest times in the NFL. And, I think on the Eagles' best day, they would potentially be a top 10 offensive lineman, potentially. So, he's walking into that. You've got good running. You've got a great running back committee behind him that are able to run and take pressure off of him. Has a collection of good young wide receivers who have good potential to play the way he wants and the kind of skill sets that he's looking for in his guys, and including his tight ends. And on top of it, the defense, our defense will get him on the field a few more times than what I believe the Eagles would. So, gives him a few more chances to make a big play. And of course, when he was one of his most efficient years with Frank Reich as his OC, now he's his head coach again. So now, Frank Reich knows exactly how to get Carson Wentz to be that efficient self. So I have confidence that Carson Wentz is going to come in and, be a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be, a top 5 quarterback. I'm not anticipating him doing that. But if he can be a fringe top 10 quarterback, I feel like that would be enough to keep this team in the playoff contention and get them an actual chance to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, the main reason with Carson Wentz was with Doug Pederson last year. He was not using Carson Wentz a lot. We didn't have much weapons. Hell, we have Whiteside as our number 2 spot, and that doesn't work right there. So. And he didn't roll out Carson Wentz a lot. So that makes you think, he can throw on the run, so use him in the rollout. Let him throw it on the run. He's one of the best at that. So I have to go with Doug. And I also have to say the competition of Carson Wentz kind of has me a little scared. Because when Jalen Hurts get in here, Jalen Hurts got in Carson Wentz's head. And it's okay, I'm here. Let me see what you got. But then Carson started to crumble down. And then Jalen Hurts took over. And the whole story on that. So did the Colts draft a quarterback?
Yes, we drafted Sam Ellinger, the quarterback from Texas, in the 6th round. Because going into this offseason, we only had one quarterback. Once Phillip Rivers retired, we had one quarterback on the roster. And that was... Well, we had 2, actually. We had Jacoby Brissett and Jacob Eason, but we knew Jacoby Brissett was not going to be the starter, and we almost all kind of thought he was going to be on his way out anyway, which he inevitably did. When I look at the Carson Wentz situation of how it went down, I know it is really easy to say that the competition got to Carson Wentz. It's really easy to say that. But, when it comes to the quarterback situation, you have to understand that not to mention you guys paid him the year prior. So he's already in the midst of a big contract. And of course, he knew he was the number 1 guy to get the spot. But then it's kind of like an Aaron Rodgers sort of thing. Aaron Rodgers is saying, get me some weapons, man. Get me some weapons. Give me some weapons, and let's take this team to the promised land. And sure enough, what do? They draft the guy who they think is going to be his replacement in a few years. It's I just don't understand. I just didn't understand the move. I get that, it's about competition and everything, but the whole point of it is that you don't want to make your starting quarterback believe for a second that you're out to replace his job. It just doesn't work out for you. Look at what it's doing in Green Bay now. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is most likely out the door here in a year or two, maybe. Just depends. I mean, Carson was the same way. He tried to go out and do what he did, but then your team just had a whole bunch of injuries and coaching staff didn't put the team in best position to succeed. And Carson paid the price for it. Not saying that Carson isn't to blame for some of the last year. He definitely wasn't his best. But I think he tried to play a lot of hero ball, and that kind of hurt him and hurt the team as a result. So, I mean, it was rough. And but I think he's coming into a situation now where he knows he is the number one until he proves he can't be. He's got the full support of his team and the coaching staff, and he trusts those people. I mean, that was the whole big thing about it, was trust. I mean, and, Howie Roseman kind of got rid of some of that trust between him and Carson Wentz by that pick in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. It's just, it's a tough pill to swallow. Now, for the work ethic, this is how I saw Carson Wentz. Like, he didn't, from what I saw last year, Carson didn't really want to work. Like, he had a lot of weight on him. I don't know if you saw that, but does he look better now, you think? Like, is his health good and everything from what you see?
Yeah. He's been great. I mean, ironically enough, I mean, he's been putting in extra work for with the rookies this year. There was a quarterback camp down in Texas that him and a couple of the wide receivers went to. Him and one of the rookie wide receivers stayed behind for 2 extra days to get work in when they didn't have to. And the Colts rookie mini camp, Wentz showed up. Wentz showed up to the rookie mini camp and was throwing balls to guys. Like, he didn't have to do that, but he did. I mean, he really is, on time and early with the Indianapolis Colts and getting a lot of work in with these guys. He even with Michael Pittman, our draft pick from last year in the second round, wide receiver out of USC, he's been getting a lot of work in with Michael Pittman on the West Coast early on in the offseason. I mean, Michael Pittman was raving about his arm strength and his ability to put it in spots that he's never seen before. So, I mean, Carson looks like he's happy. He's been smiling a lot. It feels like he's been at home. The team is fully behind him. I mean, you're seeing a different Carson Wentz this offseason than what you saw last offseason for sure.
Well, that's good to hear, because I always want Carson Wentz to play his best. Like, he did his best in 2017, then he got injured, then we won the Super Bowl. So I always feel great. And what's the word I'm thinking of? Like, just I'm amazed of his work that year and that we got a third Super Bowl because of him. I want to see that effort again, but I want those draft picks, dude. I want those draft picks. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay. 70 to 75% of the snaps, and then we're good. So
yeah.
I want him to do well, but I want us to get the end of the bargain.
Yeah, right. It's like, I want him to do well with the 70% under. So, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be very fun to watch him play. I'm really excited to see Carson. And now this quarterback, Jalen Hurts, has been getting disrespected time and time again. I want to see your perspective on Jalen Hurts. What do you think of him?
Oh, I mean, talk about a kid that's definitely got his head on straight. No question about that. I mean, you've seen he's a very intelligent guy. No question about it. I mean, he's got his head on right. He understands the criticisms he gets, and he, loves the doubters who are always telling him he shouldn't be a quarterback and everything else. I mean, we saw the what was it? It was a deadlift of like 620 pounds that he was doing this offseason. That's insane, man. For a quarterback, that's a lot of weight. For retrospect, I was an offensive lineman in high school. I think the most I ever deadlifted was 415 pounds. I mean, that dude is outlifting me by over 200 pounds. I mean, he's really strong. And I just hope that Coach Sirianni puts him in a great spot to be able to succeed. And I do have confidence in your new head coach in Sirianni, the former OC of the Colts. I mean, I have severe confidence in his ability to draw up plays and get good personnel out there that will help Jalen Hurts to take advantage of his skill set more than what a Doug Pederson probably would understand, and being able to utilize the whole offense in general.
Which is good because I'm just getting tired of these lists, man. Chris Sims not even having him on the list, and like, how is that even possible? You had this, you had rookies up there. I'm like, how? They didn't even play it down yet.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
That makes no sense to me. It just hurts me. It's funny. But dude, when I saw that 620-pound deadlift, I'm like, that's a WWE superstar times 2. So
yeah, right.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Can you imagine him like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, going right through that offensive and defensive line? Like, that would be insane. I can't wait for that, man. I just can't wait for Jalen Hurts to play. And to have the fact of the wide receiver core, I'm so happy with. Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fogel, Greg Ward, Hightower, not Whiteside, but I just love our wide receiver core and Dallas Goedert. And I feel like we're doing really big things this year.
Oh, yeah. As long as your offensive line stays healthy, I mean, your offense is going to be good. I'm not joking. Sirianni does a really great job of mixing plays up, and I know he's going to utilize Jalen Hurts in a way that utilizes his strength. I mean, you got speedy wide receivers off the edge. You have guys that can go up and get the football. Jalen Hurts, who can utilize the pick and roll so much better. And the RPOs, I mean, utilize those. And Nick Sirianni did that with so many. He was able to make, if he can run an RPO with Phillip Rivers, I guarantee you he can run an RPO even better with Jalen Hurts. I mean, you guys are going to, as long as that offensive line stays healthy, granted, please, they stay healthy, your offense is going to be legit scary. I'm just saying.
I'm just so excited to see it. And just with this media again, I want to get back to it. It's just, we're used to it by now. The Eagles fans are just used to it by now. And just like getting disrespected time and time and time again. I don't think that happens to your Colts, does it?
I mean, the disrespect we get is just not getting mentioned. I mean, that's oftentimes the problem. You know, I understand a lot of people that, not a lot of people watch Colts games because the Colts don't really get a lot of primetime games. The Eagles get a lot more primetime games than we do. Don't know exactly why, but you do, because I think Philly is a more attractive football market. It's just something that, brings a lot more people's attention. But there were times, I think there was a time this past offseason, somebody was breaking down on CBS Sports, I believe. Somebody was breaking down the cornerback group for the Indianapolis Colts. They didn't even mention Kenny Moore's name when Kenny Moore is the best slot corner in football. Neglected to even mention his name. He didn't even know he was on the roster. Like, this is the level of disrespect we get. It's not, what people say about the Colts. It's what they don't say about the Colts. I mean, that's the disrespect that we get. So, I'm glad that the Colts have a few more primetime games this year. Granted, the majority of them are on the road, which sucks. But if we win a couple of these, then, people start actually looking at us and actually, giving us the respect we potentially deserve.
Yeah. I mean, we don't even have a CB2. Like, we don't even have a cornerback 2 to go next to Slay. That's a whole nother story. I mean, with this whole Zach Ertz thing and, just the media in general and this whole thing. It's just, you know what? I think I want to hop into this right now. You and I talked about this before, and that's the record predictions. Let's start with the Colts and we'll go with the Eagles. So you told me, what was it again?
It was 10-7 for me.
10-7? Oh, yeah, I was 11-6. Okay. Yeah, what is that? First seed in your division? First seed or second?
Oh man, that would probably be that'd be close. I think that it probably would put us either really close with the Titans or just behind them. Just from my sake, I don't know. It just really depends because last year the Colts didn't really perform very well against the Titans later in the season. And a lot of it had to do with COVID. We had a couple guys have to miss that game due to COVID. And, DeForest Buckner, our star defensive lineman, was missing that game. And when you're facing a guy like Derrick Henry, that is a really big loss to lose somebody like that, and a couple other guys as well. I think the Titans are going to have a slightly easier schedule than us this year. The first 6 games for the Colts this year is really, really rough. We have 4 of the first 6 games being on the road, and that's going to be a very tough challenge. The weeks 2 through 4 are all on the road. So the Colts it's 3, 4, and 5 that we have on the road. So it's that stretch is going to be rough, and we're facing some good teams. We're facing the Dolphins, we're facing the Titans, and we're facing the Ravens. So it's a very tough schedule there. All 3 really good ascending teams. So I would like to say I could go higher. I'd like to. It really just depends on Carson Wentz and how productive he is.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule yesterday, like I told you. How do you guys have 3 road games in a row in the beginning of the year? I'm like, is this even real? It's like 4 out of your first 7 are on the road. And I'm like, what?
And then our bye week is week 14 of this year. It's so late.
Yeah,
so late.
I think Orange is like 14 or 15. Orange is like 2.
Yeah, I've said before I'd rather it be late than early, because if you're having it early, there's no point to that. I mean, week 4, I would rather have it week 14 because then it's later and guys are probably use it a lot more effectively. But nevertheless, that's still really late. That's still almost to the end of the season. So,
yeah, and especially the 17-week season, 3 preseason games, like this whole thing, and now with this COVID ticket thing, it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It would never end. This whole thing would never end. But as for the Eagles, I have them going like 8 or 9 wins. So 8 wins, 9 losses, or 9 wins, 8. So
okay, let me pull up the schedule for you guys. I want to. Here we go. Okay, so against the Falcons, I say you guys pull that one out, because I don't trust the Falcons defense as far as I can throw them. So I think you win that.
Quarterback. I don't trust their quarterback.
Talking about Matt Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is going to be loaded, but they lost Julio Jones and their defense sucks. So, I mean, they're pretty kind of weird on that. Say you lose to the 49ers. I'll say you'll lose on the road to the Cowboys the first time. Lose to the Chiefs, so 1-3. I think you'll beat the Panthers 2-3. Lose to the Bucks, that'll be 2-4. I think you'll beat the Raiders 3-4. Excuse me. Beat the Lions 4-4. I'll say you lose to the Chargers, that'll be 4-5. I say you beat the Eagles 5-5.
Wait, I'm beating the Eagles?
Or beating the Broncos, I'm sorry. All over the place, man. Yeah, okay. 5-5, beating the Broncos. Then you play the Saints. Say you lose that one 5-6. Face the Giants on the road. I will say you beat the Giants on the road, so that's 6-6. Beat the Jets 7-6. Lose to Washington at home 7-7. And then lose to the Giants there 7-8. Beat Washington the second time, so 8-8, and beat Cowboys, so 9-8. 9-8 would be my record for you guys as it stands right now.
I mean, my dad has us winning 6, and I'm like, I can see that because it's like in a rebuild year. But USA Today has the Eagles winning 3.
Yeah, they're just basing it off of all of last year. Again, it had so much to do with so much uncertainty with your injuries and a bad head coach. I think if your offensive line stays healthy and I have total confidence in Nick Sirianni to be able to coach you guys the way I know he can, I am supremely confident that you guys can at least be somewhat respectable in the NFC East. I still believe that. I think Washington's going to still own the division for right now, but I do still believe that you guys from top to bottom, I think you guys are the second best team in the NFC East still.
I can see that. Now, I know this is kind of off topic here, but Daniel Jones, what do you think of him?
Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw a random stat out for you.
All right, go for it.
Daniel Jones, I think they said, had 200 more passing yards all season than Dak Prescott did in the first 4 weeks of the season. 4 weeks. Dak Prescott played 4 games and had 200 less yards than Daniel Jones did for 16. What does that say? I mean, is that more crazy about Dak Prescott, or is that more crazy for Daniel Jones? I say that's more crazy for Daniel Jones because, bro, you have got to be better. I mean, Daniel Jones still has a lot of things that needs to be better. So it's crazy. So, but yeah, Daniel Jones, never liked the pick when they drafted him. I didn't like it, and I think my opinion still stands true there.
It's just funny because Cole Pitzel keep on saying like Daniel Jones is better than Hurts, and I'm just thinking of the fall every single time. You know that fall I'm talking about? That fall Daniel Jones had?
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing somebody talk about that the other day. Like, Dak Prescott doesn't fall down when he's about to get a touchdown.
It was like 80 yards. Yeah. I was watching the game in my room. I was like, no, please stop.
And he falls.
And I looked up,
he was running so fast, too. Like, dude, you could have slowed down. He didn't have to. I mean, he ran out of his own shoe. I feel bad for him, honestly.
No, it's kind of funny. Because I think that's worse than the butt fumble. Honestly, I think that's worse.
No, nothing will ever beat the butt fumble, bro. Nothing.
Really?
No, nothing, bro. That is literally the epitome of what are you doing? I mean, everybody has tripped over their feet at some point or another. So, it's just how it works. But yeah.
That's just, oh my God. But yeah, I don't have any donations on. I still don't have the watch time requirement yet, which is still BS.
Oh, you don't have the watch minutes yet for that?
I'm at like 1,300 because I took a year off in 2019.
What is it now? Is it 4,000 minutes still that needs? Okay, yeah. That was something that Culture Shock on YouTube. He was originally something else, and I remember when he first broke 1,000 subs. He was telling us, "Yeah, I got 1,000 subs, but I don't have the watch minutes yet. So I got to get that, and then I can get monetized." So
yeah. So to answer your question, no donations yet. I still don't have that. But hey, we got a true or false here. Colts defense cornerback starters where Expos Young.
And Young Rockison, the strength of the defense. Where are the linebackers? Okay, wait. True or false? Colts defense cornerback starters. Where is the strength of the defense? Where are the linebackers? I'm not exactly sure what that's asking.
Neither am I. I'm like,
yeah. What is? Are you saying the strength of the defense is the linebackers, or are you asking, are the defensive starters for the corners the stronger than the linebackers? If that's what you're asking, I can tell you right now what is the strength of the defense right now is, as much as I love Darius Leonard, I love Darius Leonard right now, but I say the most complete unit that this team has right now, if we're looking at it from a whole perspective, I think it's actually the safety group. I think it's our safeties. Julian Blackmon last year, second best defensive player in the league last year. And Corey Willis, who we drafted in 2019 in the 4th round, is one of the best overall safeties in the league. I mean, Kevin Byard last year, who everybody knows, Kevin Byard, he is like the interception god. I mean, Willis had more interceptions than him last year. So, I think both of those guys are really freaking good. But some of the best defensive players on the roster. Yeah, DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard. I mean, what Darius Leonard has done for this team, I mean, is just absolutely insane since he's gotten into the league. I mean, led the league in tackles as a rookie. I mean, that's insane.
How old is he again?
25? 25? And he's a top 5 linebacker in the league. Yep.
Now, I think I saw one of your streams or something. Is he due for like a contract extension?
Yes, he's getting one currently right now. They're hoping to get that done before the season starts. We saw Fred Warner get his contract extension, that 5-year, $95 million contract extension. There are people that are thinking Darius Leonard might get more than that, potentially. So,
I mean, it's nice that you guys have cap. It's very nice how you guys have cap.
Well, we need to pay them now because when Quentin Nelson's contract is up, I mean, what do you think that man's getting?
Oh, my God.
More money than any offensive lineman's ever gotten. Who's the left tackle for the 49ers that just got signed?
I know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, I forget his name, and that makes me mad because we talked about it for a while. But he just got a 6-year deal worth $130 million. I mean, Quentin Nelson is going to get more than that, and as a guard. I mean, I'm scared to look at that contract if I'm gonna be honest. I'm scared to look
at the contracts that the Eagles got. We have Derek Barnett at $10 million.
Yeah, I kind of wanted Derek Barnett for a little bit, to be honest.
Take him. I'll take him now.
I'll take him for like $5 million. I'll take it.
I don't want him for $10 million. Like, what the hell is even that? I'm telling you.
Yeah,
man.
y'all drafted him, man. Y'all drafted him.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
I see Thomas's comp over here. Hines over Taylor. I mean, if you're talking about a pass catcher, a pure pass catcher, yes. Nyheim Hines is definitely, in my opinion, right now is the best. He's the best receiving back in the entire NFL right now. I don't think there is one better than him. I know that's a bold statement, but I'll make that claim right now. Better than Alvin Kamara, better than all these other boys. I mean, seriously. But Jonathan Taylor is a whole package. Jonathan Taylor, you just can't. You just can't do that. Yeah. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year, I'll drink toilet water. Save that comment, bro. I'm gonna come back to the stream so I can watch him do it live on this stream.
Yo, I'm telling you, man. I gotta be on your podcast and just talk the shit.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm down. You guys are so knowledgeable about the game and everything. Like, I've been seeing like content creators who don't know anything and have all these subs. And I'm like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, they get all that. They get people riled up, people sub so they can watch the videos and then just hate on them all day. So that's just not what Cody and I try to do on ours. So
I respect your work. I really
appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett over Andrew Luck. Oh,
get that off the screen. Joe Wall doesn't have any reason to be in here right now. Yeah, Matthew, I'm thinking the same thing here, dude. Yeah, some of the drugs that he's on, dude. Holy cow.
That just reminds me. I was out in Atlantic City, right? And my friends were gambling, drinking, and whatnot. I get this alert. Andrew Luck retired in the middle of the game. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
My buddy had him in fantasy. I'm like, yeah, you're screwed.
That was a dark night for me. That was a dark night. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, that was a dark night. I got out of the shower and I got a text from my buddy who's also a Colts fan. And he said, Andrew Luck retired. I'm like, nah, he's messing with me. He's messing with me. There's no way that's possible. There's just no way. And then sure enough, freaking Adam Schefter tweeted it, and I was devastated. I think the video is still up on my Twitter of me like like in my room, like crying.
I think I saw your pinned one because that's how you like get up.
Oh no, the pinned tweet was my live reaction to the Colts winning the game against Green Bay last year when they won. They got the game-winning field goal in overtime, and it was like for a few minutes after the game was over, I was going crazy. Yeah, I did not expect us to win that game at all.
Here we go. He was able to catch. Here we go.
The Colts cornerbacks, Rhodes and Ya-Sin top tier. Eagles fans want Howard, but if you look at recent history, spending money on one position usually comes back to haunt the team. Well, Xavier Rhodes last year was a top 10 cornerback when you look at the amount of times that the catch percentage when facing somebody. He was top 10. So he did really well. Really had a resurgence and, revitalizing his career. You saw how bad he was the last year against with Minnesota, and came back and rejoined his old defensive backs coach, and he did really well. And I'm glad he did, and I'm glad we brought him back for another year. Be good to see that. And yeah, Thomas, I agree. But anyways, Rock Ya-Sin, oh my gosh. Another cornerback that Chris Ballard has missed on so far. Rock Ya-Sin has not been great. He's had some struggles, mainly due to discipline, committing stupid penalties and stuff like that. I mean, he's gotta get better. He's young. He's got to get better. He's got to get better or else he's not going to be on this team for very freaking long. I can say that with confidence, but yeah, I saw the Xavier Howard rumors.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, you would have to trade for him. What could you give up? You can't give anything that they could want.
I made that video. It's like, it's not realistic.
To mention, you're right. Like, the Eagles have no cap. How are you expecting them to take on a giant contract like Xavier Howard? You'd have to give up even more people. You'd have to give up Darius Slay. There's no other option. There just really isn't. So you're giving up one good corner for another really good corner. It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Washington football team. Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with my dad today. What if with these name changes? Like
I know.
Cleveland Crusaders? Like, what?
I can't wait to see what they actually name it, even though they said they're really not in a hurry to rename it at all. It's just how you could just be comfortable with saying the Washington football team. I mean, it's just, dude, just name it something. Holy crap, bro. Name it something. Like, name yourself the Washington Politicians, because that's literally what you got. What you're known for right there.
Like, it's just so. I like the other team name. I did. Apparently, there's people that did not.
Yeah, there is a small part of the population that didn't. So, this day and age where we got to cater to the people who get offended by stuff, we decided to move on from it. So whatever. I mean, I like the Washington football team mainly just due to the fact of they have like 4 Ohio State Buckeye players on the team. So I really like them for that reason. I think, they really are a really good football team. I mean, they got a really good coach in Rivera. He's probably the best coach in the division. And, they got Fitzmagic this offseason. Great situation. He's coming in and, and they got great weapons. Their defense is legit.
This should be the last one, then I'm going to wrap it up because I know you got to head out.
Oh, good. Mr. Larger, was it a Frank Reich brain fart in the wild card game versus the Bills on the last play of the game? Why did Brissett not, with a better arm, throw the Hail Mary instead of Rivers? We had the same issue with the funny thing is we were at the 40-yard line. It's not like Phillip Rivers couldn't throw it 40 yards. He's done that all season. He could. He just left it short. nothing else to say. Phillip Rivers could throw it 40 yards. It's just, don't pin it on the last play. I'll tell you what should have happened. I mean, why Phillip Rivers and the offense couldn't take advantage of those last 40 seconds of the game when they only needed 10 more yards and the game could have had a different outcome. So, look at the other plays beforehand. I know a lot of times last year, it's easy to blame the head coach for, a lot of bad play calling. And there was a few times last year, Frank Reich, definitely didn't game plan very well at the end of some games. But nevertheless, the execution of the team at the end of that game did not do very well. So,
all right. So I want to say thank you again for coming on. I know you can only say for a short period of time. It was a hell of a lot of fun, man. Best of luck to your Colts and your podcast. Maybe I could be on sometime. Maybe we'll do something. But,
all right.
Yeah. Thanks for your insight. I appreciate it. And guys, smash that like button. Go subscribe to Bring the Juice podcast. Please do. These guys know their shit. They do. Go subscribe to them. And hit the like button on this stream. I saw 4. And I'm like, what? That can't be right. That can't be right at all. So thank you again for coming on. Guys, I'll catch you later on a live stream, probably next week sometime. And yeah, peace out, guys.